and welcome to this edition of Northwest Newsweek. OPP are investigating a fatal collision on Highway 17 south of Wawa. The driver of a single tractor trailer was pronounced dead at the scene on Friday morning, while a passenger was taken to hospital with unknown injuries. Officers say the vehicle struck a rock cut. The name of the deceased has not yet been released. And new technology is helping better control the recent spike in COVID-19 cases in the Marathon area. The North of Superior Healthcare Group now has the means to process swabs in less than a day for priority testing, like those stemming from outbreaks at a local school and mine. Corey Nordstrom has more.
The days of double-digit numbers of active COVID cases is now in the past for the town of Marathon, and municipal and health officials plan on keeping it that way. Adam Brown, CEO of the North of Superior Healthcare Group, says one of the reasons the community was able to move quickly with the spike in cases was the BioFire torch unit, an advanced priority test processing machine set up in Terrace Bay.
We're prioritizing outbreak cases, so both symptomatic and asymptomatic close contacts of confirmed positives as our number one priority on the BioFire torch system.
Test results sometimes took as long as a week to get back to those on the North Shore before the new processing unit.
We had to send our swabs to Thunder Bay, and those swabs often went to Toronto. So, tremendously long turnaround times on those swabs previously.
Included in those outbreaks are the 300-plus employees of the Barrick-Hemlo gold mine that were sent home, as well as those staff and students of the Margaret Toomey Public School who came into contact with a positive case. The new processing capabilities has helped reassure the public that when cases arise, information will get out quickly, cutting down possible community spread.
The community is much more at calm now, and there's not as much anxiety. We did a lot of tests through NOSH, through the Terrace Bay lab, which was a quick turnaround, which was really good, and those individuals were cleared and back to work.
NOSH covers from Pays Plat to Pic Mobert, but Brown says they aren't the only communities with the new unit, courtesy of the National Microbiology Lab out of Winnipeg.
Saint-Antoine-Manitowoc Health has their own unit and will be responsible for their local processing. Similarly, Geraldton has a unit as well.
Brown says if need be, they will process tests for those other northern communities if an outbreak arises. Corey Nordstrom, TBT News.
It just may be the best possible Christmas present for residents across our region. Thunder Bay Regional Health Sciences Center could begin administering COVID-19 vaccines next week. It's part of the provincial plan to deliver 90,000 doses to hospitals across the province before the end of the year.
Regional Health Sciences Center CEO Rhonda Crocker-Ellicott hopes the hospital will begin administering Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine before Christmas.
We're hopeful that perhaps we could receive the first shipment by next week.
She can't say exactly when the shipment will arrive or how many doses are coming, but it's not because she doesn't know.
Unfortunately, it's guided by security requirements that there's certain information that we just are not able to share. So my apologies, but we'll give you more information as things roll out.
The hospital already has the freezer in place to store the Pfizer vaccine at the required -70 Celsius, and is ready to start inoculating long-term care workers as soon as the vaccine arrives.
We actually received the freezer this past week, so we have the freezer ready and available to receive the vaccine as soon as it's delivered to our site. So we have everything in place, minus the vaccine, so we're ready to roll.
It's exciting that the vaccine is coming to our area.
District Medical Officer of Health Dr. Janet DeMille says the distribution plan for the rest of the region is still being finalized, but it will be the Moderna vaccine, which can be stored at much warmer temperatures, that will be sent to other communities across the district once it receives Health Canada approval.
We do anticipate that Moderna, the second vaccine, to be approved fairly shortly, with distribution of that vaccine, sometime in January.
And the Northwestern Health Unit to the west is also making preparations for the Moderna vaccine.
We are looking very closely at existing vaccination pathways and processes and amplifying those in order to increase vaccinations using the Moderna vaccine.
Ryan Benazzo, TBT News.
There have been some major ownership changes for a planned gold mine in the Greenstone area. Centerra Gold has sold its 50% stake in Greenstone Gold Mines, and Premier Gold, which owns the other 50%, has just been bought out by a larger company. Greenstone Gold Mines owns the Hard Rock Project, a proposed open pit mine which has been in development for over a decade. This week, it was revealed that Premier has been purchased by Equinox Gold, and Centerra's shares in Greenstone have been acquired by the Orion Mine Finance Group. The deals are each worth hundreds of millions of dollars and effectively end a legal battle between Premier and Centerra over mine feasibility studies. The deal is being welcomed by Greenstone Mayor Ron Beaulieu, who is optimistic on seeing the project finally move into development come next year.
This is kind of, at this point, a ready-to-go project. Approvals have been in place. A key factor is negotiations with the First Nations, settlement with the municipality, the residents of Greenstone. That they've been affected by this for years.
Both deals are expected to close in early 2021. Thursday was a day to celebrate for the Nescantica First Nation. After nearly 2 months evacuated to a Thunder Bay hotel due to problems with their water supply, the long-awaited repatriation is now underway. Chief Chris Munoz already arrived in his home community this week and was not available for an interview Thursday. However, he posted an update on his Twitter account saying his 200-plus members have experienced great difficulty throughout the public health crisis, but also kindness and generosity across Canada and in Thunder Bay. He also thanked Federal Minister Mark Miller for his support after a rocky start to the negotiations. Munoz says the 14-day test run of their water treatment plant has resulted in giving the all clear. However, a boil water advisory will remain in effect until the work on the plant is completed. Evacuees will return home on several flights and are expected to be fully repatriated by Sunday. While the federal government might not be able to make good on its plan to eliminate drinking water advisories in Northern First Nations by next year, that doesn't mean other projects are being set aside. On Tuesday, Thunder Bay Superior North MP Patty Haidu, along with provincial representatives and the chiefs of both Pays Plat and Beegtagong Nishnabeg First Nation, or Pick River First Nation, were pleased to announce $4.6 million in funding to upgrade Pays Plat's water treatment plant and build a brand new facility for Beegtagong Nishnabeg. Plans and studies are already underway, and both projects are expected to have shovels in the ground by next summer. Haidu says it is critical to get projects like these the required funding, as water infrastructure in Indigenous communities is something that needs to be addressed.
Is fundamentally unequal, and not only that, it is the basis of healthy and safe living in any community. And so this investment in essential infrastructure like water treatment systems is actually at the ground level fundamental, a key to building strong communities.
Water is important. Very important. As a matter of fact, that's where we get our water. It's pumped right out of Lake Superior. We have to look after the top part of Lake Superior because that flows all the way down and out to Lake St. Lawrence. So,
water systems constantly need maintenance and need upgrading. The guys need training, constant training, to keep it running and keep the water at a standard that keeps people healthy.
The town of Atikokan is getting $2.1 million from upper levels of government to upgrade its sewage treatment capabilities. Ottawa will provide over $1.1 million, and the province will add in $972,000 through the Investing in Canada Green Infrastructure funding stream. The town is kicking in more than $750,000 as well. The government money will allow Atikokan to rehabilitate its sewage treatment plant and 5 affiliated pumping stations.
The upgrades allowed in this funding will help to increase the reliability and improve the performance of the sewage system, while decreasing maintenance costs and improving efficiency.
This will help to improve the sanitation system and limit the amount of sewage going into your river, I gather. And so environmentally, this is a step forward.
I'd love to say that this is a really exciting announcement, but it's tough to talk about excitement and sewage in the same sentence. But what's even less exciting is when you have a problem with sewage. And this is proactively moving ahead to make sure that the town has everything it needs for that capacity.
The town is still in the process of getting final numbers on the total cost of all the work. Science North is planning a new traveling display that will visit a number of communities across the Northwest in the second half of 2021. It's called the Great Northern Ontario Roadshow. It's meant to spur economic recovery by showcasing regional tourism opportunities. The province announced a $1.4 million funding commitment Wednesday through the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund. The roadshow will travel to more than 50 communities, including Thunder Bay, Kenora, and Dryden. Officials were light on details in terms of what the event will look like to attendees, saying only that Science North will partner with the private sector in the various communities it visits.
We will connect with the private sector, with tourist operators, with the other attractions, with municipal leaders and others to really showcase what is in the community that we are featuring. The assets that are there so that people can rediscover their attractions, their businesses, and all that the community has to offer in a series of festivals.
Science North is an attraction in and of itself, but it's work to enhance communities across Northern Ontario and share our vibrant, our vision for a vibrant tourism sector. So looking forward, we know we'll need to find innovative ways to continue to support the local economy, families, and build out our tourist attractions.
The roadshow will adhere to all public health guidelines and could be pushed back to a later date if health officials deem that it's unsafe to go ahead in 2021. Levine also provided an update on proposed Science North facilities for Thunder Bay and Kenora. The organization is working on conceptual designs and site selection. A final recommendation is expected to be made to the Science North board late next year. If approved, the new centers are likely still 2 to 3 years away. When we come back, regional mayors express their concerns about the future of ambulance bases on the North Shore. The first draft of the Superior North EMS Master Plan has North Shore mayors up in arms. The plan includes the closing of one northern ambulance station, as well as combining of 4 into 2. Corey Nordstrom has details.
Scriber and Terrace Bay may soon see each of their designated ambulance bases consolidated into one site as part of Superior North EMS's first draft of their upcoming master plan.
We are very happy with the service that EMS provides us. It's not quite a full-time, but it's coverage, and it seems to suit the community pretty well. It's been that way now for quite a few years. We see it not declining the amount of service, probably increasing.
The EMS bases in Nipigon and Red Rock are also poised for a similar merger, with the station in Beardmore being eliminated altogether, due in part to low usage.
The data says what the data says, and healthcare restructuring is often difficult.
Todd McDonald, the president of Performance Concepts Consulting, presented the initial report to Thunder Bay Council and explains that Beardmore wouldn't be left without resources in case of emergency.
We are recommending a leave-behind solution in Beardmore where a deployed rapid response unit would still turn off the clock and get to patients, emergency patients, on a timely basis, stabilizing them for transport.
Leadership from both Schreiber and Terrace Bay expressed their opposition to the plan, writing a letter to Thunder Bay Council, and say that no matter what the graphs show about the reworked plan, there will be instances where the current model is more effective.
The distance between the two is Highway 17, and anybody who has lived up north for a number of years knows at any given time, especially during the winter, you don't know when that highway may be closed. And it just doesn't seem feasible that we would have to wait for an ambulance to come from Terrace Bay to Schreiber and then return.
The final EMS master plan will be presented at Thunder Bay Council on January 18th. Those area mayors say they will have a delegation bringing forward their concerns.
There's got to be safety, and there's got to be moral obligations made to the people of all the communities. And I trust that Mayor Morrow and their council will take that into consideration.
Corey Nordstrom, TBT News.
2 years after being connected to the provincial energy grid, Pikangikum First Nation is now on the cusp of being connected to high-speed internet through Starlink. Starlink is one of many space-based projects being launched by tech industrialist billionaire Elon Musk, which will place thousands of satellites in low orbit around the Earth and provide high-speed internet access to remote communities, including Pikangikum. Kenora MP Eric Malello says he's excited to see a high-profile company like Starlink take an interest in the region, adding the promotion and expansion of broadband internet access in the North is something he continues to push for.
It was an exciting day for Pikangikum when the work started, and I think it's really an exciting day for everyone across the North because having worked with my Conservative colleagues and with the government to frankly put some pressure on them and help make sure that Starlink was able to enter the market, and with the CRTC approvals, I think it's going to be not only great for Pikangikum, of course, who's getting the pilot and having that first opportunity, but hopefully there will be opportunities for Starlink to expand.
Malello says while he's happy to see government investment in connection services like fiber optic line construction, he believes private companies like Starlink are able to provide options and increase competition. Coming up after the break, a yearly tradition of giving to those in the far north continues. Christmas came a little early this year for residents of Pikangikum First Nation with some assistance from North Star Air. The Toys for the North campaign is organized in association with the RCMP and other sponsors, and last weekend over 1,500 toys were loaded onto the plane and brought to the remote community. Kayla Karim has more.
Several thousand toys were sorted in Thunder Bay last week in preparation for their delivery to a total of 8 First Nation communities just in time for Christmas. Pikangikum was the first community to receive a giant toy donation. COVID-19 made the drop-off this year less interactive. Karen Matson, marketing director at North Star Air, explains.
We couldn't go into the communities and celebrate with the community members. We come with Santa and we take Santa in, and Santa actually hands out the toys to the boys and girls. The community typically cooks a big community feast, and they welcome us to it also. So this year it's been totally different. It's all been outdoors. Of course, our masks on and social distancing.
Celebrating its 10th anniversary with the RCMP, North Star Air is an important partner in the delivery of the toys. By providing free transportations for representatives and for the cargo, they ensure that the gifts arrive at their destination safely.
Well, you know what? This is our bread and butter. These are our communities we service year-round. They're our friends, our neighbors. They're like family members to us. For us to bring all the toys out here to the kids puts big smiles on our face. It was so disappointing not being able to celebrate with them this year, but there's always next year. We'll be there for them.
The other Toys for the North deliveries this year will be to North Spirit Lake, Muskrat Dam, Bearskin Lake, Martin Falls, Kiwi Win, McDowell Lake, and Fort 7 First Nations. Kayla Karim, TBT News.
Delico's 12th annual Christmas Wish campaign has wrapped up for another year, and thanks to the generosity of area residents, organizers were able to surpass their goal of 600 gift bags for kids. Campaign is known for its bright red bags that are filled with gifts for children up to 18 years old who are served by Delico and Anishinaabe Family Care. Gifts will be given out to homes all around the region, including Fort William First Nation, Long Lake 58, and Pic-Mober, just to name a few. The agency offered new ways to donate this year during the pandemic, and Executive Director Darcia Borg says that helped them fill close to 700 bags of gifts.
I think, one thing that we notice is we've had donations actually from different companies that rather than have a Christmas party because of COVID-19, that they've actually donated the funds that they would have spent on that Christmas party. So our donations, we gather from different community members, churches. We have a church that also has really, supported Delico, and different organizations and companies.
Since the Christmas Wish campaign began, there have been over 6,000 gift bags distributed to Indigenous children for Christmas. Access to charging stations for electric vehicles continues to grow in the Northwest. The IV charging network is being created by Hydro One and Ontario Power Generation. They recently installed 3 charging stations in the region, including one in Thunder Bay, with plans to add 6 more by year's end. Corey Nordstrom has more.
Charging infrastructure for electric vehicles is on the rise in the Northwest, and the IV network is the newest addition in Thunder Bay. The 2 charging stations have been set up outside the Holiday Inn Express on Carrick Street. The IV Network is a company launched by Hydro One and OPG, which is looking to expand the electric footprint across the province.
There are 4 stations now open in Northern Ontario, and we've got a few more coming before the end of the year. We're going to have over 70 sites by the end of next year.
Decker says IV chargers have also opened up in White River and Uppsala, with plans for Geraldton, Terrace Bay, Kenora, Dryden, Atikokan, and Fort Frances to be operational by year's end.
OPG and Hydro One operate throughout the province, so for us it is critical to make sure that we're supporting the communities that we operate within, and this is a part of it.
Derek Jones is the general manager at the Holiday Inn. Agreeing to host the charging stations was a no-brainer for him, as he's noticed more hotel customers looking to know if they can make the trip here in their electric vehicles.
We've also had numerous calls from both people locally, now that they've seen the machines, as well as people who are looking to come to town for business or pleasure, and they're just glad to see these popping up.
Ty Alderdice of Halfway Motors Nissan says the growth of this type of infrastructure is leading to more sales of electric vehicles like the Nissan Leaf, as confidence in electric is growing from consumers.
The fear of range anxiety has always been present with electric. So the fact that Petro-Canada has stepped up and places like Ivy have stepped up and putting charging stations every 250 kilometers or less throughout the Trans-Canada Highway should definitely give people a little bit more ease when getting into an electric option.
Alderdice estimates there are now about 10 of these charging stations around Thunder Bay. There's also a set of chargers outside the Canadian Tire store on Arthur Street, but those only work with Tesla vehicles. Corey Nordstrom, TBT News.
That's all for this edition of Northwest Newsweek. We will be off Christmas Day and New Year's Day, but back on January the 8th. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.